Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I would like to share the knowledge about neosporiosis, and it is important disease for dog as well as for cattle. And my name is Sarfraz Rahman. I did PhD in the department in parasitology, and I would like to share this knowledge with references these books: Veterinary Parasitology, second edition by G.M. Urquhart; Veterinary Parasitology, fourth edition by M.A. Taylor; George's Parasitology for Veterinarians, 10th edition by D. White, D. Bowman; A Handbook of Veterinary Parasitology, Domestic Animals of North America by Henry J. Griffith; and Taxonomy of Toxoplasma by Norman D. Lawrence; and Veterinary Parasitology Reference Manual, 5th edition by William J. Forrest; and the last one is Internet Sources. Please subscribe my channel and also push the button of bell icon. So this is the brief sketch of the classification of this Neosporosis. The subphylum Sporozoa or Apicomplexa, and the Sporozoa or Apicomplexa, it is divided into three main classes: Coccidia or elementary Sporozoa, Pyroplasmidia, Hemosporidia or blood protozoan. And this class, Coccidia or elementary Sporozoa, it is divided into the two family, Imyridae, Sarcocystidae. So Imyridae is divided into the three main genera. One is the Emeria, Isospora, Cryptosporidium. The other is family, that the Sarcocystidae, which is divided into the Toxoplasma and Neospora, Hemondia, and Basnoita. So it is included in this Sarcocystidae family. And now next is the Pyroplasmidia. This is Dichlieria, Babesia, Cytoxozones, and Hemosporidia or blood sporozoan, which is divided into the Hemoproteus, Plasmodium, Leukocytozoan. So the sporozoa are apicomplexa. What is the apicomplexa? And it is the group has possession of an apical complex, a structure which apparently assists penetration of the host cell, and it is visible only with the electron microscope, and having the apical stages in your life cycle. And trophozoites have no cilia and no flagella. Intracellular parasites, and it has the sexual stages called the gametogony, and the stage at which the gamete produce spores is called sporogony. So the asexual stages, which is called the schizogony, and this divides into the three main classes. One is the Coccidia, elementary sporozoa; other one is the Pyroplasmidia; and third one is the Hemosporidia or blood sporozoa. This is the that is the shape of this that the apicomplexa. And next is the Hemiridae family, and this is the it is included into that that is intracellular parasite, and schizogony or gametogony take place into the same host. Sporogony, maturation, takes place outside of the host. And three genera, that the Emeria, Isospora, Cryptosporidium. So the Coccidia, that infection of the Emeria or Isospora, and or collectively of Emeria and Isospora. And important points, that is the Coccidia are the sixth type. One is the Emeria, 4 sporocysts and 2 sporozoites. Isospora, this one is the 2 sporocysts and 4 sporozoites. So the Cryptosporidium, it has the 2 sporocysts and 4 sporocytes, and the Toxoplasma, it consists 2 sporocysts and 4 sporocytes. Neospora, it consists the 2 sporocysts and 4 sporocytes, and Sarcocyst, it has the 1 sporocyst and 4 sporocytes. So the Neospora, which is the 2 sporocyst and 4 sporocytes, and you can see that this is the 4 sporocyte and 2 sporocyst. So the neospora that causes the disease, that neosporosis, disease of the blood and lymphatic systems, causes the neurological signs and muscles inflammation. And first description, Neospora caninum, that is the Borglis et al. In dogs, Norway in 1884. It also causes the reproductive failure in cattle, earlier misclassified as Toxoplasma gondii, and Neospora caninum infection is reported from most part of the world, causing abortion and neonatal mortality. And you can see in this picture the studies in the USA, New Zealand, Netherlands, Germany indicate that 12 to 42% of the aborted fetus from the dairy cattle are infected. In India, that zero prevalence of that 12.61 and 9.97% in the dairy cattle and water buffaloes respectively were documented in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh in 2012. So the terms related to life cycle of Neospora, and first one is the sporoplast. The nucleus of oocyst divides and makes 4 conical bodies, and each nucleus is surrounded a mass is called the sporocyst. Sporocyst, each sporoblast that is secrete wall or refractile material is called the sporocyst. Sporocytes enters the epithelium is called the sporocytes. Chasons, trophocytes divided and multiple fission take place is called the chasons, and merocytes are structures consisting of many elongated nucleated organisms, and chasogony, asexual reproduction, and gametogony, male and female gametes combine asexual reproduction is called the gametogony. Oocyst, male and female gametes combine and zygote formed, and cyst it will make the oocyst, and macrogametocyte, which is the female, and micro, that is the male gametocyte. So this is one of the sketch of this life cycle of the Neospora. Neospora has the complex life cycle, and it is repeated period is 10 to 23 days. Infected stages, the oocyst consisting 2 sporocytes, tachycytes, and tissue cyst. So this is the definite host, that the dog are wild canids, and they secrete the placenta aborted, and this tissue cyst eaten by this cattle or other ungulates, and then this shed the sporulated oocyst, which is ingested or ingested by this cattle, and this placenta tissue cyst, which is eaten by this dog. And so this is the life cycle started from like this one, this and this and this go this one. So it means that this sporulated oocyst eaten by this cattle, that is intermediate host, and the placenta or the tissue cyst, which is eaten by this dog and other canids, get the infection of this neospora. So neosporosis in dogs and different animals. Neosporosis caninum is the major pathogen for cattle and dogs. Occasionally it causes the clinical infection in horse, goats, sheep, and deer. And you can see that the hind legs paralysis in dog as well as in the cattle, especially in Heifer. So the transmission, and dogs are definitive host of Neospora caninum, and the capable of shedding the oocyst in feces after eating the tissues of infected animals. Grey wolves, coyotes, and dingoes are also definitive hosts. Neospora oocysts have an impervious shell that enable the survival in soil and water for prolonged period after the canine feces have decomposed. Intermediate hosts such as cattle become infected by the ingested oocyst. Cattle do not produce oocyst and thus do not transmit the infection horizontally to other cattle, but latent infection may endure permanently in their tissues, and it is transmitted to the canids by carnivorism, transfer essentially from an infected cow to the developing fetus, or even occur into the multiple pregnancies of the same cow. So the clinical sign, most neosporosis abortion occur in mid or late gestation. Congenitally infected cows may be born weak or with neurological deficits. In dogs, subclinical infection is the rule, although there are greater variety of the exceptions. Litters or individual puppies may develop progressive hind limbs and varices associated with the polyadrenoneuritis, myositis, muscle atrophy. Adult dogs may have the encephalomyelitis, focal cutaneous nodules, ulcer, pneumonia, peritonitis, hepatitis, or myositis, sometimes associated with use of the immunosuppressive drugs. Cattle, the abortion occurred. So these are the signs of the neosporosis. Diagnosis, histopathology of the aborted fetal tissues, serology, and PCR. Diagnosis of the neosporosis abortion can be made with the great confidence from the following constellation of findings: lack of other etiological agent, non-sporulative inflammation in multiple fetal organs, and especially including the brain, heart, skeletal muscle, immunohistochemical or PCR detection of the neospora in fetal tissues, neospora seropositivity of the dam or fetus. So treatment, that there is no approved treatment in the cattle. Several antibiotics have been used in the dogs with some success. There is no approved treatment for neosporosis in cattle, and clinical neosporosis in puppies has been treated with some success by the prolonged 3 weeks to 2 month administration. Clindamycin 20 to 22 milligram per kg twice per daily. Potential sulfur drugs 15 to 30 milligram per kg trimethoprim sulfur methoxazole twice daily, and toltrazuril and ponazuril are effective in vitro, but their efficacy in clinical neosporosis has not been reported. The prognosis is negatively associated with the severity of presenting clinical signs with the delayed treatment. Prognosis is poor in puppies if the disease has progressed to high limb paresis with the atrophied rigid limbs. So this is the control and prevention, stopping the transmission, endogenous transmission and exogenous transmission, and it is managing the exposure to dogs, controlling the exposure to dog, the feces, minimize the fecal contaminated feed, water, wild canids, prevention of the dogs, access to raw, that the domestic ruminant and that surviving tissues and placenta. Other one is the endogenous transmission, reduction of infected cows, and test and call, removal of aborted cows, testing or introduction new norm, that this is the cause, and considering calling the seropositive stock, This is expensive and selective. The breeding from the zero negative cause only are breeding only to meet the production from the positives, embryo transfer out of the valuable seropositive dams. So this is the method how to control your the neosporosis. So thank you so much.